Welcome to Project Monday. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Once upon a time, there was a widow named Longkongla, who lived in a village called Chungli. One day, while she was weaving a cloth, she saw a hornbill flying overhead. She thought to herself, "Aya, how wonderful it would be to have a beautiful hornbill feather in my hair, especially to wear during the community feast hosted by my nephew," she sighed. And she went back to her weaving. Not long after, she noticed something strange.
Oh.
A feather had appeared on her weaving frame. Excited, Longkongla picked it up and carefully placed it in her basket. But her curiosity got the better of her. After some time, she opened the basket again. To her disappointment, the feather had turned into a stone. As she watched in surprise, the stone changed once more, this time into a bamboo vessel with a hole at the bottom. At first, Longkongla did not care much about the strange vessel and tossed it aside. That night, however, the bamboo vessel transformed into a beautiful baby boy who cried throughout the night. Longkongla, with a soft heart, decided to raise the child as her own and named him Pongdang. Pongdang grew up into a fine young man, got married with a beautiful woman, and had a son named Tsungpi. Longkongla loved her grandson very much. Tsungpi grew up and became a very handsome man, so handsome that all the village girls fell in love with him. This caused jealousy and hatred among them. So the villagers, fearing conflict, decided to kill Tsungpi. One day they tricked him into going to the river, under the guise of fishing with poison. On request from Tsungpi, his best friend Sitiyong accompanied them. On reaching the river, they asked Sitiyong to go down to the other end of the stream and remain there, to catch the dying fishes which would be floating down as a result of poisoning in the upstream. Soon after he left, they began pounding the fish poison in the baskets they carried and asked Tsungpi to pour water in those baskets. Some of them, when he was busy doing so, forcibly pushed him into a basket and pounded him mercilessly. Tsungpi's best friend, Sitiyong, while waiting for the fishes, noticed something odd. He rushed to the riverbank and saw a small toe washed ashore. Sensing something terrible had happened to Tsungpi, he searched for his friend but in vain. He picked up the toe and showed it to Longkongla. When Longkongla heard what had happened, she was heartbroken and furious. She swore revenge on the villagers. The next day, while all the adults were out working in the fields, Longkongla killed a pig and invited all the village children to her house for a feast. As they ate, Longkongla quietly slipped out and locked the door from outside. Two children who had been standing outside her house came up to her. She invited them in too, but as they entered, she trapped them under a heavy table. Then she set the house on fire, burning all the children inside. The two under the table managed to escape, but with serious burns. That evening, when the villagers returned home, they saw the two injured children standing at the village gate, singing in sorrow, "Oh, have you seen my mother? Oh, have you seen my father?" But the villagers ignored them, hurling insults instead. Furious, the children shouted back, "You call us hateful, but now you don't even have your own children." When the villagers learned what had happened, they were devastated and enraged, and planned to kill Longkongla the next day. But Longkongla overheard their plan. The following morning, Longkongla prepared for them. She spread slippery Job's tears on the floor around her house. When the villagers came to attack her with spears and swords, they all slipped and fell. and one by one Longkongla killed them with her weaving sword. After taking her revenge, Longkongla prayed to the Almighty to take her away from the cruel world. God heard her prayer and lowered a cord from the sky, instructing her not to look back as she was lifted up. Longkongla agreed and began to ascend. But as she rose, she heard her pigs grunting, her cows mooing, her dogs barking, and her chickens clucking. This touched her sentiment very deeply. At the same time, her heart grew heavy with the thought that others would take her animals. And in a moment of weakness, she forgot God's warning. She looked down and angrily shouted, "Let my pigs turn into wild boars, my dogs into jackals, my cows into sambars, and my hens into wild hens." But as soon as she looked down, the cord snapped. Longkongla fell from the sky and impaled herself on a parasol leaf tree also known as Kabo Sungdong in Ao dialect. Among the Ao Nagas, the Kabo tree holds a story, particularly due to the red gel-like substance inside its trunk, which is believed to represent the blood of Longkongla, which reflects the intertwining of nature and mythology.